Your Country 1039 KGRT, Rodney Atkins. If you're going through hell, hey, just keep on going. You might get through before the devil even knows your name. I did it. Yeah, got a little singed, but I'm just fine.
Time now for your question of the day. Brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Markets of Las Cruces. Fresh produce, bread, meat, honey, food trucks, handmade art, music, and more. Every Saturday and Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., downtown Las Cruces.
That's right. Mostly fine, a little singed, like I said, but we're good. It is time for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. Fresh produce and bread and all kinds of cool stuff. Make sure to check them out every Wednesday and Saturday. So, my question for you today actually has a little bit to do with the conversation I had last weekend and a little poll that I saw recently. And it has to do with books. Yeah, if you're like 46% of Americans, then your answer would be no to this question because you haven't read any books lately. Yeah. A new YouGov poll finds that nearly half of American adults haven't read or even listened to a book in the past year. Of those who said they have read a book, 27% said that they had read between 1 and 5 books, which not too bad there. In fact, unfortunately, I have to be among those percentage of Americans that said I haven't read a book in a year. It's actually been a long time since I've read anything, and was having that conversation. Although I do say that, just on a side note, we need to read more Dr. Seuss. I'm just saying. But my question for you today, and if you have to think about this one, you got to think about it because you might have not read a book in a while. But what was the last book that you read? And I'm trying to think about which one was the last one I read. And more than likely, it's probably going to be like a Forgotten Realms fantasy book, probably one of the Drizzt books, from R.A. Salvatore. But I'm trying to remember the last book I read because, honestly, manuals and instruction manuals don't count. I've read quite a few of those. But the last real book that I've read, I might have reread. Yeah, I think I did reread Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol because I wanted to check something in there. But I think I may have read that one on one of the plane trips last year. But that was last year, and it's a while. And to be honest, that's not a very big book at all. It's very, very short. But what was the last book that you read? Yeah, go ahead and let me know your answers for our question of the day. Also, comic books don't count. I've read quite a few of those. Or manga. I'm just saying. The actual real book. What was the last one you read? Go ahead and let me know your answers by giving me a call or sending me that text message 575-523 KGRT. That's 575-523-5478. And of course, we are live on our social media pages as well, YouTube and Facebook. Leave your comments below. What was the last book that you read? Let me know your answers to our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. Okay, now we are exclusively up on our social media pages. Oops, already got a text message in. Didn't see that one right away. Text message says no books in the last year or no books in a while, or you just can't remember which book you read. Yeah, see? I knew it. He tried to get me with a repair manual. Technically, that does not count. It has to be a book, a story, perhaps a biography, a fiction book. I'll get away with some science fiction and some other stuff like that. But I used to be a very, very avid reader, would read books all the time. You may have heard my story a couple of weeks ago when I was talking with Mandy with the library cards and the whole thing. I used to go to the library a lot when I was a kid, and I would read books all the time. I lived in my elementary school library for the longest time. Even my mid-school library, I was in there all the time. So, yeah, I used to read all of the time, and mostly science fiction, a few horror, and, basically all the general stuff. But, some of my favorite stories did come from books, all those Stephen King movies and everything. I've read most of all those books as well. But I haven't read anything lately. And I feel a little bit bad about that. Now, to be honest, to be fair, and I'm not throwing this out as an excuse, but, the eyes haven't quite been as good since the stroke. So I know I'm just using that as an excuse, but yeah, I probably should try and catch up on some of those books that I'm behind on for sure. But what about you? What was the last book that you read? Or are you like 46% of the Americans, according to that poll, that say they haven't read any books lately at all? That's like in the past year or so. So go ahead and let me know your answers. Once again, 575-523-KGRT. That's 575-523-5478. And of course, leave your comments down below as well. In the meantime, let's take a look at what's going on in and around the world these days. Kendrick Lamar apparently going to be performing for the big game this year, Super Bowl 59 at halftime on February 9th. He's performed at the Super Bowl before. He was part of the whole Dr. Dre thing for a while, but it looks like he's going to be the major performer this year. That ought to be a lot of fun. Let's see. Apparently, J-Lo has allegedly removed her Ben Affleck tattoo. Probably shouldn't have gotten it in the first place. Also saw that competitive eater Joey Chestnut engaged in a 5-on-1 eating contest at the halftime of the Bengals and Patriots game yesterday. He downed 18 bratwurst in 3 minutes. I've been talking for about 3 minutes. I haven't even taken a drink of my coffee. It's he's not human. He's just not human there. Yeah. Also saw that Apple may face a multi-billion-dollar fine shortly after their iPhone 16 launch event today. The company is accused of anti-competitive behavior. No. Possibly. Fine could be one of the largest in history, though. Also, the hotels are facing high demand and are now offering bunk beds. Yeah, the innovative amenity allows the hotel to maximize some space right now. If you have kids, that's kind of cool. For adults, bunk beds, yeah, they seem like they would be fun, or maybe going back to the years you're younger. You roll off of that top bunk, and then not quite so much fun. And to wrap it up, Hollywood. Yeah, apparently a sequel to The Goonies has been greenlit. The original cast, Sean Astin, Josh Brolin, Corey Feldman, Jeff Cohen, and Ke Huy Quan will return for the sequel. So that's kind of cool. Be pretty interesting to see how they did it. Hey, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They pulled it off with Top Gun. Can they pull it off with The Goonies? We shall see. But that's what's going on in and around the world. And once again, we're looking for answers for your question today. You know, I saw that new Gov poll that finds that nearly half of Americans haven't read or even listened to a book in the past year. 46%, in fact. So, yeah, what was the last book that you read? Repair manuals, instruction books, and manuals don't count. It has to be an actual, like, book with words and a story and stuff. Yeah. Let me know your answers for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces.